the idea I want to leave you with today is one that's sort of been touched on a bunch today. Even I'm going to jump down on the stage. And it's the next big bang that's going to come in technology. In the past 35 years, there's actually been 3 prior big bangs: PC, internet, and mobile. Let's just take a quick look at the PC big bang, the first one. Here's the famous picture of Microsoft, which dominated the PC industry. And there's Bill Gates in the bottom left. And on the bottom right, you'll see Paul Allen. What you might not have known, actually, is that Sean Finnegan in the top left was actually in the early team of Microsoft, as was Steve Cattleman in the top right there. So those guys played a huge role in that first big bang. That really does kind of look like Finnegan there. Let's move on to the, assuming this clicker has any powers whatsoever. Dear clicker. Oh, right, the Homebrew Computing Club. This was a club right up the street from here, actually. And this is where all the misfits and all the people that were geeks in radio, kind of like really interested in computers, came together. This is actually famously where Woz and Jobs launched the first Apple. And they got their first order for their first Apple kind of afterwards. And so that was like right up the street from here. The second big bang was the internet. And as we saw last night, where am I pointing this thing? There we go. All right. Mr. Andreessen, this was in his more youthful days, as he was so brilliant last night, and sort of sparked this big bang with Netscape, the visual browser. And here's the first version. And then just some other sort of internet companies. AOL, of course. We have Yahoo when they were going for the Wikipedia look back in 1995. We have Amazon, who I think Jeff Bezos personally wrote this copy. This was their first version of the site. eBay. Then, of course, we got Google and Facebook and then Twitter now. And so with the internet came e-commerce. And brands in every company basically raced to create like a digital strategy. And this digital strategy traditionally had like 2 parts. The first part that it had was an e-commerce website. And this e-commerce website was designed to drive online sales. And the second part of the digital strategy was a digital marketing strategy designed to drive traffic to that e-commerce website. Those are the 2 parts of the e-commerce strategy. And it really worked. It got huge. In fact, last year, e-commerce was $400 billion. This is a massive industry, gobstoppingly huge. And then the third wave came. The third big bang came, mobile. That happened in January 2007 when Apple announced the iPhone to the world, making possible something that had never before been possible. And obviously, as you heard, it's just getting huge, 8 billion smartphones by 2020. And we keep hearing about this Internet of Things. What that really just means is that everything's going to be connected to the Internet in some way. So it's not just smartphones. It's going to be tablets, PCs, wearables, computers, cars, appliances, refrigerators. It's all going to be connected in the Internet in some way. But the thing is that people don't really buy stuff on their phones. Here's a quote from Jessica Lessin, who's the former tech editor of the Wall Street Journal. There's little e-commerce activity on mobile. Brands advertise to drive sales, but people aren't buying stuff on their phones in any meaningful way. So why is this? Why aren't people buying stuff on their phones? Well, is it because of the small screen size? I think not exactly. Maybe a little bit, but not exactly. The real reason is because there's fundamentally unnatural context. And so, people look at their phones when, I'm speaking, for example, at a presentation, or when they're at restaurants, or when they're in the mall, or when they're in the park, or when they're in the car, or in a store. And so, I guess what I'm saying to you is, wouldn't it be more natural? Wouldn't it be fundamentally more natural if, when people were on their phones in the park on Twitter or in a restaurant on Twitter, they didn't just see a tweet for Louis Vuitton for a generic Louis Vuitton tweet, but instead they saw a tweet for Louis Vuitton that's like right down the street from that restaurant with a particular product that they want for a particular location, Or, they didn't just see a mobile display ad for McDonald's when they're in the park. They saw a particular mobile display ad for the McDonald's that's really close to the park so they can go there right now. And there's location information embedded in the ad. And and wouldn't it be more natural if she didn't just see sort of like a Panera ad on a Facebook post for like a generic Panera, but instead saw like a specific Panera that's like really close to her in the mall. And to take this a step further, what if when someone was in a store, they like walk around and when they're near a product they want, and you sort of heard the previous panel just talk about this, we can communicate with your phone when you're close to that to drive an in-store experience that's different based on where you are. Or you walk up to like an ATM machine and you're about to take your money out, and then all of a sudden there's something that chirps at you and says, hey, look, there's actually a cheaper ATM with no fee right next door to sort of conquest you right before you do that. And so I guess my point in the beacon stuff is what's going to enable that. We'll talk about that in a second. But I guess my one big idea I want to leave you with is that let's use mobile, this third big bang, to drive offline sales. Everything to date has all been about using digital media to drive online sales, but let's use mobile to drive offline sales. And by the way, this is a much bigger opportunity than online sales. Last year, offline sales, offline local commerce was $6 trillion. And that's 15 times bigger than online local commerce. 15 times bigger, so it's a massive opportunity. And this is already starting to happen. Here's the Apple Retail Store app that they just launched. They're not trying to get you to buy something like in this app. They're trying to help you schedule Genius Bar appointments, and they're trying to help you, actually check inventory before you go in so that you can make sure that they have the product that you want before you show up. That's fundamentally something to drive in-store offline commerce, not online commerce. And so it's not just about ads, but it's also about like in-store experiences too. So, I'm sure you all saw the Macy's Shopkick announcement where, Macy's has these beacons in stores so that when you walk up to a purse that you might want, there's a beacon that chirps at your phone and it can wake up any app and then tell you to do something with that. And it can send you a message based on the fact of proximity. And this is really super powerful stuff that fundamentally changes the in-store experience for any brand. And so, there's just to draw a quick distinction here. So iBeacon lets you fundamentally change the in-store experience, and all the sensors people are talking about, like you hear Wi-Fi that's using low energy Bluetooth, actually iBeacon does too, but the Wi-Fi sensors basically give you analytics so that you can answer crazy questions about what's happening in store. Stuff like, hey, 10% of the people who come to your store never come through a register, half your customers have been in your store twice a week. There's all kinds of things that, with offline analytics you can answer. That's enabled by Wi-Fi. And you don't even need someone to install an app for that. And so I guess what we see happening is, and this is sort of where we get to that next big bang, every brand is not just going to have a digital.com website. They're going to have a physical website too. Whether that's an app or a physical website, that app or physical website for the physical world is going to interact with people based on proximity. It's going to interact with people around you. And so, what does this mean for chief digital officers? She means everything. Your responsibility, I believe, is about to go from 400 billion of online commerce to 6 trillion of offline commerce. The commerce you're responsible for is about to, increase by an order of magnitude or more. And this is an awesome opportunity. And so that's the next big bang that we see happening. Geotech, this Internet of Things, these sensors out there. Everything is going to be connected, and based off where you are, where there's natural context, you're going to be able to fundamentally change the ads people see and the experiences that they deliver. And so maybe what I will leave you with is one thing, which is that if you look back at this homebrew computing club, which was right up the street from here, maybe that next big bang is going to start right here at this Chief Digital Officer, the first inaugural forum. And so take a look around you. You never know where Bill Gates or Steve Jobs is sitting in here, or Sean Finnegan is sitting in right here. So thank you all, and have a great day. Cheers.